Today we'll be talking about the sentencing of P Diddy. As you enter the live, go ahead up the chat. Let me know you in the building. Well, we're going to talk about the sentencing of P Diddy. This has been one of the biggest trials in a long time. For those that don't know, I will kind of recap the trial and all that went on during that. Also, the things that he was accused of, we'll talk about that as well. But I want to welcome y'all to Mark B's Perspective. Go ahead up the chat. Let me know you're in the building. I thank y'all for the continued support. I'm having a good day. Make sure y'all take the poll. Make sure you take the poll. I got a poll up. Make sure you take the poll. Go ahead, take the poll. I got the poll up. Take the poll and let us know. I feel like P. Diddy should be sentenced to at least 40 to 50 years. That's what Hussein said. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for sharing, because those are your thoughts, man. But we're going to talk about this and see. My only question to you, Hussein, is why do you feel that way? Dr. J, welcome to the chat. Thank you. Welcome into the building. We appreciate you. Dr. J says, happy Saturday, everyone. Happy Saturday to you also, Dr. J. We thank you. Make sure you take, everybody as you come in, make sure you take the poll. Make sure you take the poll. So we're going to be talking about the sentences. Hussein, that's what I'm saying. That's why I asked you, Hussein, why did you say he should get 40 to 50 years, right? You said because what he did was extremely bad. Yes, the video and the beating of Cassie was horrendous. That was wrong. But a lot of the stuff that we heard on social media and through the news outlets, he was found not guilty of. So let's be careful. That's why I want to, talk about this thing and just be specific. We want to filter out all the extras. It was a lot of extras, man. People thought he was messing with children. They thought he was trafficking people. His actions are unspeakable. Yeah, if we go with all the stuff that was put out, his actions were. But let's be specific on what he was convicted of. He was convicted of the Mann Act. And all that is transporting a prostitute from one state to the next. That's all he was convicted of. All the other rumors you heard, he was not convicted of any of that. Even the video, even though that was horrendous, we don't support domestic violence at all. We don't support any kind of violence. But let's be clear. He was convicted, and a lot of people don't know. So a lot of people will look at him and say, this dangerous man need to be locked up forever. But that's why you got a trial. He went to a trial, a federal trial, right? And he was found not guilty of RICO, not guilty of trafficking, but he was convicted of the Mann Act. The Mann Act don't carry 40 or 50 years, but for each case, it does carry 10 years apiece. Dr. J said, take the poll as you enter the live stream. Yes, take the poll. Make sure y'all take the poll as you enter. So for the sake of Hussein and others that's coming in, P. Diddy was charged with the RICO Act, right? Like enterprise, almost like organized crime. That's what he was charged of. He was also charged of trafficking, right? 2 counts of trafficking. And he was charged with what's known as the Mann Act. That's anytime you take a prostitute from one state to the next for sex, to pay somebody for sex. So those were the charges. He had 2 counts of the Mann Act, 2 counts of trafficking, right? And he had racketeering charges, meaning he was using his businesses. In this instance, they were saying he was using his business to run a big trafficking organization, an traffic organization, right? So that's where the official charges. We got to filter out all the stuff we saw online, man, because they had so many videos of, they were saying he did this to Usher. They were saying he did this to Justin Bieber. They said he had children. They said it was a big trafficking organization, right? None of that was proven in court. He was found not guilty on the RICO, and I'm not defending him. I'm just bringing you up to speed. He was found not guilty on the RICO charges, right? And he was found not guilty on the 2 counts of X trafficking. So let's be clear of that. So he was being sentenced on what's known as the Mann Act, M-A-N-N, the Mann Act, right? 2 counts. Each one of those counts carried up to a 10-year maximum. So he could have got a maximum of 20 years, 10 and 10, which sometimes they run them together. Sometimes they make you wait and you do 110 and then you do the next 10. So as he went into the court, right, for sentencing, this is what the sentencing was for those who don't know. In this case, the sentencing, the judge took recommendations, right? So they had letters from any of the victims, which was Cassie and Jane Doe. So they had letters from those individuals, right? They had the recommendation from the prosecution, and they also had was like probation, was known as the pre-sentence investigation. Make sure y'all take the poll as you enter this live. Make sure you take the poll as you enter this live. Make sure you take the poll as you enter this live. So, as I was saying, the prosecution recommended that Diddy get sentenced to 11 years. That was the prosecution's recommendation. The prosecution's recommended 11 years for Diddy. That was the one extreme. Well, his defense team was recommending like 14 months, 13 months, which would have been time served, because P Diddy has already been there 13 months. So with the good time, it would have been time served and he would have got out. That's on the other extreme, right? The pre-sentence investigation, the probation people, they was recommending 5 or 6 years. So the judge took all of this into consideration before sentencing Diddy. So what they did, what the judge did was he factored everything in from the letters of the victims, the letters of support, because he had a number of letters supporting him too. The judge came back and gave Diddy 4 years and 2 months, 50 months. Diddy was sentenced to 50 months. He still gets the time served for the 13 months that he already served. So with the calculation of the time that he would have to do, he's looking at serving approximately 2 more years. He's looking at serving approximately 2 more years. And I want to say this, right? Having, experience with the criminal justice system, having my own personal experience with it, I want to say, when you're waiting for sentencing, right? I'm gonna just talk about that. We'll get back to Diddy in a minute. Just waiting for sentencing is stressful. I want to share this time where I had this good lawyer. He was, supposed to be a good lawyer. I was there for drug charges, trafficking at the time, right? And the judge, I got found guilty, but my lawyer requested that I get 2 weeks out to get my affairs in order. Now, mind you, I'm an 18-year-old kid, for real. I'm 18 years old, right? Out there trying to hustle in the streets, doing what I wasn't supposed to do and all that stuff. So this attorney requested the judge give me 2 weeks. I was already convicted of the charge, right? I started with trafficking. I think it plead down to what's called possession with the intent to distribute. So I got my sentence, but the attorney requested that I'm gonna give you the poll knockout. Knockout, I got you. Did you make sure you take the poll? Try to get a lot more people before I tell the results. So what happened was I went to court for the trafficking charge. I was convicted, not of trafficking. They convicted me of possession with the intent to deliver. So my attorney requested that I get 2 weeks to handle my affairs. I'm an 18-year-old kid. What affairs did I really have? But going out there to hustle again. So I had 2 weeks, right, to turn myself in. But already got the time, but I had 2 weeks to turn myself in. So while I was out, I'm just living life normal. But as I talk to family members, I'm asking people, what should I do? Because my thing is, I was never one who wanted to just turn himself in. So as the day is approaching, I'm wondering, what should I do? Let them catch me when they catch me? What should I do? So I had one particular person, and they was a family member, an older person, because everybody else said, man, go ahead, turn yourself in, do your time, and come on back home. This one person, and I felt them, they was like, man, don't you turn yourself in. They rolled with me. They're like, nah, don't turn yourself in, right? And, so I'm balancing with that, because I think I was given 10 total years, 2 years sentence, followed by 8 years probation. So I would only have to serve the 2 years. But I was like, yo, do I want to just turn myself in? I don't just want to give my life to these jokers. But I factored all that in, and I ended up going to court on turning myself into the jail on that particular time. And that's what happened. But I know it can be stressful waiting for sentencing, whether you inside or whether you outside, because this is going to be your last. You're not getting out for a minute. If you out, this might be your last meal, a free meal and all that. So in that situation, I did turn myself in, and I went on and did my time like a man, stood 10 toes down, and I came home once I was released like 2 years later. But in this case, back to Diddy was already in, right? He's waiting for sentencing. He's hoping to get the sentence that his attorneys are asking for, which was time served. Because I don't know how they found out, but they said Diddy had already booked some speaking engagements. I ain't got a problem with that personally. Some people say that wasn't a good look. No ego. No ego. Listen, man, I got to respond to no ego. No ego. Guess what? I should have been like that, but I was a hard head. Ego said, I bet you haven't been back since. That ain't where my story ended, right? I didn't learn on that. I did the 2 years, came home, right? And end up back into the game. No ego. Sad to say, man. I apologize. I know you probably thought better of me. I hopped right back into the game, and I end up going back, right? This time I got caught with even more stuff, and I was sentenced to like 20-something years mandatory. Well, I end up serving 13 on that. And that's when I really learned my lesson, man, sitting down for those 13 years. So together with the first offense and the second time, I gave away 15 years, no ego. They say a hard head make a soft behind. So I wish I would have learned from them 2 years. But when you don't learn from that, something worse always got to happen. So like I said, I went back and did that. No ego said, bro, once for me, never. That was it. Right. Let me say this, because no ego and I'm going to get back to Diddy, y'all, but let me bring this up. I know some people from my hood, man. They made it as far as a police car. They was in the back of the police car, and that's all it took for them to get their lives together. They were so shook, never returned. I know some people, they just made it to the jail one time, and that's all it took for them, right? And they said, nah, I can't do this. I know some people that just made it to the jail one time, and that was all that it took for them. Just like No Ego said, once for him, you get there eating them bologna sandwiches with nothing on it, just no, not bologna and cheese now, bologna sandwiches with the stale bread. No Ego know exactly what I'm talking about. But you know, some people would take one time, but then there's others that's repeat offenders. Like me, it took me 2 times, not 2 times getting arrested, but 2 times serving prison time. So some people learn and some people don't learn. Good job, No Ego, for you learning from your mistakes, man. Because that cycle is serious, man. Joker be starting when they 18 and then they be 40, 30, 40, and 50 years old, still caught up in that cycle. But thank you, No Ego. Dr. J said, knockout, the poll is, do you agree with P Diddy 4-year sentence? And share your thoughts on that, because let me explain. Some people feel like Diddy should have got more time. I know Hussein was saying he should have got 40 and 50 years, even though he wasn't facing that much. And then there's some people like, man, free Diddy, he should have got out. So we got people on both sides of the spectrum. And I want to be clear. I want people to understand. Don't listen to everything we hear on the social media, even on the news sometimes, man. Because just listening to the stuff that was brought up against Diddy, you would have thought he was trafficking children. He was doing this. He had a big organization for his trafficking. That was not the case. The case was him and his girlfriend in their personal life, right, were hiring people to come into their bedroom and they did some stuff. Even that was foul. But where he messed up at really, really bad is when he was on video beating and kicking Cassie, right? But that's another part of the cycle, you know, because he was on drugs. And that's not an excuse. But I want everybody to get a clear picture of what was going on. P. Diddy was a drug substance abuse, and a lot of people around him was abusing drugs as well. So it was a lot going on, you know, in P. Diddy's life, man. And it would have been nice if he would have had people around him be like, come on, man, we can't do this. Let's get it together. No Ego said, my brother, I don't even want to receive a call from a friend about selling or buying anything. Man, they better not call me about nothing. I'm hanging up. Hey, I got this quick score. Listen, man, click. I don't even play them games. But No Ego, you remind me of something that happened. And this is in real life, right? I grew up on the East Coast, you know, running the streets of, you know, through New York City, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Delaware. Those was my circles back then, No Ego. So I know some New York boys that travel from state to state. So one time, I'm in the South now, you know, I'm away from that, I'm trying to do right. So I received a call from one of my New York boys. He saw my peoples and they plugged us up, and he called. He like, yo, you and such. I got some people down there. You know somebody doing something? I like, man, you know I don't do nothing. His thing, he's like, oh, I'm in New York City. Okay. Let me finish, and then I'm gonna ask you which borough and all that. But so he called me like, I told him, I said, I'm not doing right, nothing. I'm trying to live right. He's like, I know, but do you know people there doing something? I'm like, yeah, I know up people doing something. He said, listen, all you got to do is plug us in. You take your cut off of the top, right? You won't be touching nothing. All you want to do is take yours off the top, right? And that's all. So I would have been the person. They would come down. They would hit me. I would hit them, whoever that I found to do. You know what? I thought about that for a minute. I'm like, don't I can make a quick couple thousand or whatever, you know, whatever I'm thinking. And it put that thought in my mind. But then I had to kick back. I said, no, if anything go wrong, these cats only gonna know me. If them cats that I plug them in with, if they run off or anything happen, these cats is coming after me. And that's what made me like, nah, I'm good. I ain't doing that. But No Ego, he almost had me because it sounded so good. And it would have been easy because I would have just been dealing with one or two people. He'd have hit me. I would have hit them, right? And in the perfect world, I'd have been making some easy money. But as we all know, we don't live in a perfect world. Bad stuff happens all the time. So no ego. What barrel are you at? So, as you come into this live, man, make sure you take the poll. Make sure you take the poll. What we're talking about is P Diddy. He got sentenced to what's called 50 months, right? On my last sentence, I did over 120 months. So I did like 130 something months. After said, "What up, dude? Oh, you in the Bronx? You in the Bronx? Yo, you in the Bronx? He heavy duty. No ego. You be safe out there, man." But they said, the Bronx ain't like it was. Well, it's always gonna be what it is, but they've been, making stuff better and and all that. So it's gonna be good parts and bad parts of anywhere you at. But back to P Diddy. So P Diddy got sentenced to 50 months, which add up to 4 years and 2 months. He got sentenced to 50 months, right? He will get time served for the 13 months that he already been in, right? They say he actually looking at about 2 more years to serve, right? I don't know what kind of treatment programs he can get into. Can he get out earlier? That'll be something that they will be working on. Hey, Paul, I'm gonna give you a pass, man, because you don't know no better, man. Paul, I'm gonna give you a pass, but I would like you to delete what you just wrote, man, because you talking foul behind his keyboard. Somebody said MAGA back in business. Okay. Okay. So what happened with Diddy, man? It didn't work out. But this is the thing. It's still a blessing for him in my eyes, because he could have been going up to 20 years. So he gonna get this 4-year sentence. He got to pay 500,000. And it's crazy to say it, but that 500,000 is really nothing to him. The reality is, if he was convicted of the RICO Act, I'm gonna go back a little bit, they would have came after all of his assets. If Diddy would have been convicted of the RICO Act and that ex trafficking, they was gonna come after all his businesses, them $50 million houses that he got. They would have came after all that. So this is still a win. And I know he want to come home bad. My suggestion to anybody, right? And it ain't got to be this specific type of crime. Don't put yourself in those situations, man, where you got another human being that's going to make judgment on you. People already judge us every day just in life. But don't put your, I ain't going to say don't. Try not to put yourself in those situations, man. Paul, thanks for your jokey joke, Paul. We got that. But that's not a crime, though, right? Paul said Diddy didn't get charged with RICO. He got charged with FRICO, right? For one thing, the government and everybody put his business out in the streets. Everybody know what he was doing, but he probably really won't care as much, compared to if he would have got life in prison. Diddy was facing life initially, so he need to count this as a win. How about just be a good, decent human being and not try to take advantage of people and hurt people? Stephanie, you said it. I should end the show with that because nothing else needs to be said. Let me read this again from Stephanie. Stephanie said, how about be a good, decent human being and not try to take advantage of people and hurt people? Right. And let me say this to you, Stephanie, right? That goes for males and females, rich and poor, because what you're speaking of happens on all levels, not just on Diddy's level. His trash and garbage and mistakes have been exposed to the world to see. But that what you're speaking of happen in relationships all the time. people take advantage of other people. You have people who cheat on people. So Stephanie, it ain't just that, and it ain't just him. It's you and I as well. We got to make sure we not doing that, and that we being good and a decent person and treating people right and all the good stuff that you're talking about. But I really appreciate you saying that, Stephanie. Number 1C is that everyone needs a second chance. Yeah. My thing was I was kind of favoring, and don't beat me up, y'all, but I was kind of favoring for time served, right? Because some people can make a change. I don't know. It's some. Let me tell you this: while I was in prison, and I didn't do federal time, I did state time. So we feel like state time is a lot harder than the federal time. They doing good in the feds, but for real, all time is time. Stephanie said that's right. We can hurt people's feelings. Micah, even in the church, Micah, very good, said we can hurt people's feelings. So we got to be careful with that. You know, be considerate. I can say what I want to say, and that's how some people feel, but we got to be considerate of other people. He'll get a second chance. Y'all cruel. He'll get a second chance after he serves his time. Sometimes we can be so unforgiving, man. Because listen, Stephanie, I want to ask you, just be honest with me. If you haven't saw that tape, right? Without seeing that tape, would you have said and felt the same thing about Diddy, or would you have a different perspective about him? Asking you, Stephanie, if you didn't see that tape, because that's the tape, in my opinion, was a nail in the coffin. Backed over the coals, you know. Yeah, number 1C. Yeah, they did the thing to him, right? Especially as a black man, try not to put anybody, but especially us, man. Because a lot of time we don't get the benefit, you know. Here I was, an 18-year-old, and I'm not making no excuses. I'm out there trying to hustle because I'm so ignorant in my mind. I'm thinking that's the only way I can be successful, right? So I went to jail at 18, did the 2, came out after 2 years. 1 year later, went back and served 13 years. Same thing, trying to hustle in the streets. So Stephanie said, yes. So I would have felt the same because of things that I've been hearing about him from before. But we can't go about hearing, right? Because even you, Stephanie, if you meet a person, right, and they're going to have some bad stuff to say about you as a person, you don't want that individual that you may be interested in to go by all the stuff he's hearing. That would be unfair to you, right? We can't go about hearsay. We got to go by facts. In a relationship, even in court, we got to go by facts. So yeah, and all the stuff we saw on the internet was not true. P Diddy jail song, bottoms up. Y'all wrong. But remember, the same judgment we got for him, we got to account for the same thing too, that we do in our personal life that don't nobody know about. So everybody couldn't have been lying. Stephanie, have you ever had 4 people lie about you at one time? Just 4 people in your life. People, I'm not saying everybody's lying, but still the rule is, right? The rule is it got to be proven, right? Nothing was proven. They got rumors about Justin Bieber. They got rumors with Diddy about Usher. Neither one of them two said it happened, but it's all over the internet. Oh, he did this to Usher. He did this to Justin Bieber. We got to be careful with that. Number 1C said, you ain't lying. Cassie played the victim very well, but she was in on it. Man, they got tapes, and I'm not going to take this time to bash her. We sympathize for all victims, especially true victims. But they got it on record where she called and set up some of them meetings. She herself did it, right? But, you know, a lot of people caught up on that tape. When he was beating on the tape, that's what the stance is people taking. Diddy's a bad guy. But what about he was abusing drugs. He was a junkie. He was making junkie decisions, right? But we don't want to forget that. Just like she was using drugs, he was using drugs. Stephanie said, actually, no, I have not had 4 people tell the same lie. No, I have not. Honestly, I believe you, but sometimes people, especially in certain situations, people can get together and say certain things, especially for the sake of money. Because some of the lawsuits who have been thrown out was for money, right? So you got, and then people on the YouTubers, it's clickbait, or I can get views on it. Some people gonna grab these stories which have not been validated. A lot of the stories, the feds use validated stories. It was a tape with Cassie. They used her. They used Jane Doe. All these other internet stuff, the feds didn't even entertain that. The feds wanted to bury Diddy. The feds raided his houses. They took computers. They took phones. A lot of that stuff was lies, man. They thought that he had these freak offs with these other actors. There was no freak off. The only freak offs was him, Cassie, and whatever prostitutes they had, with them. It was like in his personal. But at first, everybody thought it was Jennifer Lopez is there. Jay-Z, they thought it was something different when it really was not that. So, but Stephanie, I do want to I gotta read Stephanie's comment. She said Cassie was groomed, and that is why older men go out. Yeah, yeah, but Stephanie, I don't know if you in 2025, man. I've been seeing teachers messing with 11-year-old boys. So that go both ways too. It was a couple cases, and the thing that I don't agree with, when it happens with a woman, is looked at different. So yeah, that's a problem. But they was a couple for 10 years though, Stephanie. So this is not even a good example to use with him and her. Number one C said, man, you spot on. I'm 26 years clean and sober. I did a lot of dumb stuff. God gave me a second chance. I'm trying to tell you, man, some of us, man, we get them chances, we're going to get our mind right. But they say we got to be at the point to where we sick and tired of being sick and tired. Otherwise, we're going to keep doing the same thing. And I've been in some groups, man, some self-help groups inside the fence where we talk about real stuff. We ain't faking it because it's just us. And it may be a facilitator, but we're in there talking about some real stuff, about problems we dealt with, how we saw things, why we do the stuff we do. And there's some people that talk a good game in these groups, right? And then you see them and they get out and they fall by the wayside. Let me explain some of that. And this is not an excuse. This is just me explaining it. A lot of people get out, their family say, yo, I'm gonna hold you down till you get on your feet. So they get out, right? And jobs ain't just, especially back then, they're a little bit better now. Jobs wasn't hiring no ex-felon. You talking about you got a 5-year gap with no experience. Man, they was throwing away applications back then. So you get out, these people got good intentions. They get out, they can't even get a job. So the people who said you can stay there 2 months and went by, they looking at you sideways. Come on, man, you ain't doing nothing. You can at least hustle. That's what they thinking in their mind. So now you gotta like, what I'm gonna do? What I'm gonna do? You don't want to look like no lame. Ain't nobody messing with you because you ain't really got no money, but you see the opportunities to do some dumb stuff. So if you're not strong enough, they're gonna fall right back into the same cycle. And that's what goes on, man. That is what's going on. But back to Diddy. I just want to get back to Diddy, man. I wish him the best, right? I'm not at the point where I want to throw him away. I wish he would not have done a lot of the stuff that he did or was accused of doing, but I did not want to see them hang him for a Mann Act. He got found not guilty for all the other charges, and only thing he was charged with is bringing prostitutes from one state to the next. I did not want to see him go down for that, right? But I can live with the 4 years. I don't know if he can live. It ain't me. I can live with him with the 4 years that he got, right? See what my sister talking about. My sister Stephanie said, okay, yes, we know some people were out for the money grab. But what about the people who were closest to him that were saying the same things? Even the men that he cheated out of money, okay, listen. It's so much was going on in his life. Like we mix everything together. We can't do that, right? You know, you can even talk to Mace. There was certain deals. French Montana made a lot of money with him. It's some people that did make money with Diddy, you know, but that's your contract, and that's not a crime. They've been beaten. They done beat all the old singers, the R&B singers. All of them got beat, even almost up to the level of Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson was so smart. Michael Jackson started demanding. You know, he knew his worth. But that's all they did was beat them. So we're not talking about that. You got to realize when P Diddy came in the music industry, he learned from those individuals. So a lot of his practices, and even though they wasn't right, he learned from them. That was the norm. But when a black man do it, it's going to be highlighted. You robbing people. They've been robbing. The industry have been robbing musicians, all genres for a long time, not just Diddy. Fair share of what was owed to them. But that's why he gave them, remember right before this came out, he gave a lot of people their publishing back. So I think it was a reckoning starting with him even before that. He gave people publishing. That publishing is your money. You can make a lot of money. You can do commercials. You can do a lot of stuff. He gave a lot of artists their publishing. Rucker said he just got caught up being with money in America. Yeah. And thinking he can do what he see other people do, because this is the thing, right? And this might not even be apples to apples or oranges to oranges, but what Hugh Hefner had going on at the Playboy Mansion was a lot worse than what he did. Because you're talking about trafficking. They had minors there. It was a lot of stuff going on there, but they didn't start talking about him until he passed away. But you're right. He had money. He thought he can get away with some of the stuff that he's seeing going on. Mark 4 is better than 11, though. He could have received up to 11. He could have got the whole 20, Dr. J. Thank you for sharing that. Stephanie said he should have gone down for what he did to Kid Cudi. He wasn't charged with that, and he didn't do it. Those were all accusations. That wasn't even the one, it wouldn't have held up in court, though. See, that's what I'm saying. People saying this and saying that, you know, and I'm not an advocate for him, but if we're going to talk about facts and what should happen to somebody, listen, man, we can't go with the should have happened, because think about this, Stephanie. I'm talking to you, Stephanie, right now, as well as everybody else. There's been cases that I've seen. You watch these shows, and as they show on the show, you will swear this person was guilty. Then 20 years later, DNA come into the, you know, they do the DNA, and it was not them. That's why you got to go to court to prove without a reason. You know, it got to be proven. What is it? Proven without reasonable doubt. So that's the standard. It can't be because we think it. Sometimes we think they're guilty, and it might not be guilty. P Diddy's song, y'all wrong, man. God see everything y'all doing. But Rose said P Diddy's song is my milkshake. Bring all the boys to the yard. Okay, you got a funny. That doesn't make it right just because it was done before him. Barry Gordy did it to almost all of his artists in Motown, but that doesn't mean it was right. Stephanie, I'm not saying it's right. That's how they learned the practices. He didn't create the wheel. You got to realize they learn from people that they dealing with, right? Now having an awakening, this should be a great time in his life. And yeah, I'm agree with you, Stephanie. After he do his time, come out and treat people better, right? Come out and treat people better. Number one C says, stop hating, Stephanie. I don't think she hating, you know, but we're going to respect her viewpoint as well. Stephanie said, because he knew what was going down. He did that only because he knew what was coming and he wanted to look good. What part are you losing me? What part? You talking about with a record deal or his abusive behavior? What part you talking about? Because some people made money. Even Biggie's estate made money under Puff Daddy. There's people who made money. Faith Evans made money under And it's all about you responsible for your paperwork. You responsible for the contract you signed. Even with Mace, you know, Mace and Cameron with the show they got. Mace said he didn't get credit for certain things. Yeah, but you know what you signed. And you can't come back years later because they paid you 40,000, but it was worth $1 million. You signed that. So we got to be careful what we sign, right? And now people know better now. So lawyers were dirty. It was a lot of dirty stuff going on. I'm talking about when you said he gave people that publishing rights. Yeah, because even I researched a lot on that, Stephanie. He didn't have to do that, right? You don't have to give them. He didn't have to give that. They were paid for those rights. And you got to realize record company is an investment. When record companies invest in artists, and we'd be like, oh man, he gave him 200,000, but it's really worth, okay, but that was an investment. You read the contract, you was probably in need of money, and you took the 2,000 instead of waiting for the 2 million. Stephanie, let me share with you the guy that did the Disney. Well, I forgot what part he played, but he was a child. And I think they came to him with $2 million. And it's, forgive me, I can't think of his name, but he did the Simba voice. They came to him with $2 million, right? He gave it to his mom. He was so excited. His mom said, no. She told them, listen, because he wasn't going to get no residuals. So he was going to get $2 million to be done. His mom was an attorney. She told him no. And I think he only got like 100, 200,000. But his residuals, he got paid way more than 200,000 over the years. That's a great example. He could have took the 2 million and he could have been mad years later and be like, I lost 100 million by signing two. No, know your paperwork and make sure you sign what you're supposed to sign. It said, there's always a lot of dirty dealings when, oh man, always got to go there. Stephanie said, why do you think he waited so long to do it? He did it because he knew that was coming down the pipe with those lawsuits. You could be right on that. I don't see it exactly that way, but I'm not going to argue with you. You could have a point. At that time, he knew there was some charges was coming. He did know at that time because, you know, shortly after they made him come back to New York, and that's when they arrested him. That's when they arrested him. That story, man, that's an inspirational story. I can't get his name. I'm seeing his face right now, but that was the one that he said that was his best decision ever. Disney was going to give him 2 million. I think he did the Simba voice, right? His mom said no, because he wasn't going to get no residuals. But once she did it, he only got paid like 100 or 200,000. But the residual income, he's still getting checks today, he said. So that's the thing. Stephanie heated. She's not a fan of Diddy at all. Stephanie said, look, I see him for what he truly is, which is a malignant narcissistic. He put his hands on too many people's, men and women. Okay. So should we be done with him, or should we seek? Should we not? We don't seek it. That's on him. Should we want him to be healed from that, or should we be done? Right? There's a lot of abusive black men. There's a lot of abusive men, but I'm just talking about black men. Should we just throw them away, or should they get the help? Or because he did it, or he knew better, he should have known, and we're done with him. Is there any redeeming value in this man, Stephanie? There are people who have stories about how he tortured and beat them. None of that was, I can't go with none of that. None of that been substantiated. None of that, you know, but I understand he should do his time and we will see if he comes out a better person. I'm gonna give you that. Most definitely. He ain't got no choice. He ain't got no choice now, Stephanie. But let's not be quick. We quick to put our feet, you know, on our own when they down. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing right now, but you know, we're quick to put our feet on our own when they down. Hey, make sure when y'all come into this live, make sure you take the poll. Diddy was sentenced to 4 years. Take the poll. Do you agree with that sentence or not? Story, Rucker, good point. Stories. See, we can't get caught up with stories, man. Do you know Jay-Z almost got pulled into one of these accusations? The lady said it was Jay-Z and Diddy, and she tried to put him in. Yeah, Dr. J said, I agree, Stephanie. He got narcissistic behaviors, praying that he would learn from his mistakes. This is a big mistake. But the good thing about it, as Stephanie and everybody was saying, he didn't lose everything, because not only was that going to hurt him, that was going to hurt his children. They was going to take everything. If Diddy would have been found guilty of that RICO, they was coming after everything. They weren't going to care if it's in your mom's name, your son's name. They was coming after everything. Right now, he just got to pay a $500,000 fine, you know. But yeah, he made this bid, and he gonna have to lay in it. He made this bid, and he's gonna have to lay on it. It wasn't just a mistake. It was a lifestyle. He had a lifestyle of hurting people for selfish gain. Right. But I understand that it was a lifestyle. I'm gonna give you that, Stephanie. You're making a great point. And even though I'm speaking up for him, I'm not a defender of him. I'm not defending him. I just want to, be objective, right? So I'm speaking on his behalf because he's not here to do that. But Stephanie said what you guys fail to realize is it wasn't just a mistake. This was a lifestyle. He had a lifestyle of hurting people for selfish gain, right? He was also an abuser of drugs, right? He was also a hurt individual. They say hurt people hurt people. I'm not making their excuses. I'm just pointing out something, right? He had issues. So yeah, his issues and not addressing them issues caused him to live a lifestyle of hurting people. And I just wish that he had some strong people around him, but he probably wouldn't have listened. That could have been like, yo, man, stop. Get focused, get back together. So I get that to you. You on point. You spot on, Stephanie. We don't support. Let me just say this, because this is the route where Stephanie is going. We can't support people or even our people when they doing wrong. And that's what we don't want to do. We're not going to condone or support wrongdoing. And that's not what we're doing now. Right now, he answered for the crime that he committed, right? And some people may think he should have got more. Some people may think he should have got less. But right now, he's answering for the crimes that we all say he committed. They use the man law, right, to knock him in the head, to sit him down a little bit. Okay, so that's where we at. Stephanie said, true, and see what happens with those type of people. The more money and power they have, the more people they hurt, and the harder they hurt people. You said it. Ain't nothing I can say. You speaking the truth, the unadulterated truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. And we appreciate that, Stephanie. But one thing I want to do is, like far as, victims, listen, my brothers, do not put your hands on them sisters, man. Me, you, everybody, do not. And I know people get angry and they get frustrated, and this happens and that happens. There's no excuse, brothers, of putting your hands on sisters. Even if she put your hands on you, man, do your very best to walk away. Now, on the flip side, sisters, do not put your hands on men. Sisters, do not put your hands on men. Please. Domestic violence is not the answer, right? Domestic violence is not the answer. And I know some of us, if you was coming up, years ago, there was abuse and that was the norm and this and that. Listen, don't put your hands on nobody. They are not your property. They are not our property. Vice versa, sisters, don't put your hands on nobody. It's bottom line, right? Deal with your own stuff. And I'm going to say this because this is a part I always want to leave with something positive. right? The word for the day is self-reflection. And I'm going to use the example of Michael Jackson's song. Everybody know Michael Jackson's song, right? The Man in the Mirror. That's what we need to do, man. Reflect on yourselves, man. Start with the man or woman in the mirror, right? Figure out why you do the things you do, right? If you feel a certain type of way, you deal with that. Not physically against somebody else, but you deal with those feelings, right? Before you try to hurt somebody or before you get hurt, because it can go both ways easily. It said, Dr. J said, Rucker said, there you go. Dr. Say said, right, Mark, in addition to all that, you all are saying also, I think that money has gone to his head. Diddy thought his stuff didn't stink. Exactly. He felt that he was above the law. Just my thoughts. You on point, Dr. J. And I want y'all to understand, Dr. J is also a content creator. Check out her channel. She do lives every, a couple times a day. And she's an educator. So make sure you check out Dr. J's channel. Very good point. Rahman said, you on parole? No, man. I've been out for a minute. Make sure y'all take the poll. Ethan said, no empathy for him. No empathy for him. Okay, Ethan. Dr. Zay said, double tap the screen, like the live stream. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if you have not done it already. Rucker said, beautifully said. Thank you, Rucker. Stephanie said, agree. You always have to self-reflect. Listen to that song. Start with the man or woman in the mirror, right? Reflect on that stuff, because a lot of us got a lot of stuff going on. And if you don't deal with that stuff beforehand, as it happens, you're not going to be prepared to respond. That's why you got to deal with whatever going on inside of you. Evidently, Diddy was not equipped to deal with that stuff. And we seen that as he was beating and kicking Cassie while he was in a hotel room, right? He had just had a violent outburst. If he was already dealing with himself, that probably would have never happened. Also, to even use those hard drugs, there was an issue. So it'd have been nice if somebody was there to be like, come on, man, we got to get you some help. It'd have been nice if he had some people in his life for that. But you got to reflect on yourself, know what's eating you, what's hurting you, why you feel the way you feel, and deal with that stuff. Otherwise, you're going to keep stuffing it. You're going to keep stuffing it. And it's going to be like a volcano, and you're just going to erupt. What do people do when a volcano erupts? I've been thinking about this for a minute. What happens when a volcano erupts? People evacuate. They don't send the fire people to put it out. Why? Because at that point, they can't put it out. Same thing with us. We got to deal with that stuff before you erupt. Because once we erupt, we go black. People are like, I blacked out. So make sure, man, we dealing with our own stuff. As Dr. J said, Diddy didn't think his stuff stinks. All of our stuff stinks, and we got to deal with that. Stephanie said, you have to self-reflect. Okay, like and subscribe. The Definitely says that drug will inflict physical and spiritual pain. Very good. The Destiny Shift said drugs will inflict physical and spiritual pain, right? Once we start using the drugs, we almost gave up. So now we didn't already gave up at that point, right? So now we relying on these substances, right, to make us feel either good, important, or whatever it is. So we didn't gave up already, and now we're using this drugs, and that's how we become dependent and addicted to this kind of stuff. Thank you, Destiny, for sharing that. Rucker said children can grow into monsters living in America. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But once we know better, we need to do better. If you know better in your community, get with the ones who don't know better. And it's hard because everybody's not going to listen. But once we know better, do better, man. Talk to some people. Help the ones in your immediate circle at least. It said, Stephanie said, I would check out Dr. Jay's content. What is her channel? Hey, Dr. J, put your link of the channel so Stephanie and others can get your link. We also got Destiny's, the Destiny Shift, right? Is another channel, and she is a doctor as well. So make sure you check out the Destiny Shift. Check out her channel as well. Put your links in the comment so other people can see your channel. WEF says, I'm a few years off of heroin and it's off my mind 24/7. Listen, let me just tell you this. I just want to say this for those who don't know. See, the cane is one and the heroin is another one. They two different types. The cane, they say, is mental, right? It's in your mind. You know, it's strong in your mind. So those who are addicts on that, it's in their mind. But that stuff, the heroin that he spoke of, is physical. Like they actually get sick, right? And need it. So when they need it, they're gonna get sick to the point where they got to get it. And that's why they go to more extremes. Not saying one addict is worse than the other addict, but that heroin, he can tell you, he says he's clean. He a few years clean, and congratulations on being clean. But that's physical. Don't mess with that, you know, because it's hard to get off. That's when they talk about opioids. That's even in the opioid family. A lot of the stuff, painkillers and all that, they got some of that stuff in it. But congratulations. What's your name? WEF. Dr. J said, remember to smash the like button on your way into the live stream. Also take the poll. Destiny said, you are welcome. Destiny said, oh, thank you, brother. So Destiny's channel is the counseling trainee. So make sure we plug into that and support one another. That's the only way we're going to grow here on this YouTube. We got to support one another. Dr. J, go ahead and put your channel in. Put your link to your channel, because even Stephanie asked how to get to it. So Dr. J, put your link, your YouTube channel, put your link in there. And if anybody else got a channel, well, everybody got a channel, but we're talking about who makes content. Thank you, Dr. J. Thank you for putting that in. Hopefully you'll get some leads during this live. But I want to thank y'all, man, for y'all continued support, man. Diddy has answered for the crime that he has committed, right? If you have not taken the poll, a big percentage is saying he should have got more time. A big percentage said, man, he should have got more time. I want to thank y'all, man, for taking the poll. I thank y'all for taking the poll. We want to get some more people to take y'all to take the poll if you have not done it. Like to see. Destiny said, the Destiny Shift said, I hope he becomes better. And this is what we want to say, man, to any of our victims, man. We praying for y'all healing. And it's by no means will we support somebody who's domestic, abusive, you know, even if it's our own people. We're not going for that, because in our community, man, a lot of stuff has taken place and people have turned a blind eye. And you got all these dark secrets, even in our community. So we're not going to support that. Dr. J said, please take the poll, like, and subscribe to the channel. But as I said, man, make sure we self-reflecting, because our goal is to be better human beings, better individuals. Self-reflection is the word of today. Matter of fact, ride this out for the weekend. Self-reflection. Look at the man or the woman in the mirror and try to become a better you. That's all. None of us are perfect, but we can at least strive to be a better individual. Dr. J said, me too, Destiny. Prayerfully he will learn from his mistakes. Yes. Yeah. 50 months. I know some people saying that's not enough time, but like y'all saying, hopefully he will learn from the mistakes that he did. And my last note, I want to say, man, my brothers, man, let's treat our queens right. Let's treat our queens right. Why? Because they need us, right? Black men, treat your queens right. Respect our women. Treat our queens right and respect our women, man. That's what we got to do. So part of your self-reflection, make sure we treating our queens right. To my sisters, before I go, make sure y'all treating our kings, our black men. Make sure y'all treat them right and with respect and dignity, right? And don't look down on them. So we all have to do our part. Yes, Dr. J said that part, Mark. Destiny said, I changed my career to help those that needed so much trauma in families and society. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on that we got to deal with. But thankfully, we got good people like you, the Destiny Shift, Dr. J, and many others. Dr. J, have you seen Valerie? I got to go check Valerie's channel out. I know she's been doing lives. I've been kind of busy. Have you seen Valerie lately? Real quick. Dr. J said respect goes both ways, most definitely. If you see Valerie, tell her what's up. I'm gonna try to stop in her channel, just give her a shout out. I know she's been in Detroit, like showing little places that she grew up in. But I want to thank y'all, man, for continuing to support the channel. Make sure you like. Oh, you haven't? Oh, yeah, I gotta stop by. Yeah, but I just been busy though. That's the only thing. I'm gonna try to peep into our channel and see, put a comment in or something. But I thank y'all once again. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Don't forget to self-reflect. Like Michael Jackson said, look at the man or the woman in the mirror. And that's the way we become better people. Got to catch up with Valerie. Yeah, most definite. But I thank y'all, man. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend. And may God bless y'all, your day, your weekend, and all that. Dr. Zay said, have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you, man. Y'all be safe. Until next time. Peace.